Here is a quick look at the garden before our growing season starts up. Wanted to show you all around to see how things go. As of right now, we have been weeding the garden quite a bit and cleaning up out here. Still have a little bit more to do. So this is the way that we plant. We have different types of beds. We do have most of them numbered and labeled. Each bed that we typically use here is 25 feet long and 2 feet wide. We use various varieties of planting methods, which we'll get into more of that here in just a minute. But this is just kind of how everything looks out here before the season starts. What we'll typically do is we'll be down in our basement, and what we'll do is we'll use the paper pot system for planting. Each particular flat can hold 264 seedlings, if I'm not mistaken. So what we do is we spread out the paper chains using the spreader, put them into a flat, and then we just take some soil, place that into the cells themselves. Then we will take the dibbler, push down into each individual cell just to make a hole for the seeds. Next, we place seed into the drop seeder, drop the seed in, and then we cover that with vermiculite. And usually, as you can see by here, we have the lights down here in the basement, and we also have a heating blanket underneath of all these trays to provide heat for germination, and it works out pretty well. But here we are back to the garden, taking a look at a few things here. Some weights for insect netting and whatnot. We typically just leave all that out here. Here's some more bed markers. We use rebar for bed markers, so we have a 10-inch walkway in between. I didn't say that earlier. A 10-inch walkway. What that does for us is this allows us to run string lines to be able to properly plant in these beds. As we've gotten better at it, it's not as necessary as it used to be. You kind of get a feel for it every time. I did choose the rebar over using wood, just because I figured that the wood would probably degrade pretty quickly with the amount of worms that we have out here in the garden. We have lots and lots and lots of worms out here. Moles are always an issue. We do have a few mold traps. I don't know if I can show you. Let's see, there should be one right here. Right there we have a trap. We also have another trap right out there. We have already closed down one tunnel. Excuse me, let me go back to the moles. So with the moles, they're typically an issue because they love to eat worms. And the worms, we notice, typically like to hang out within the roots of the plants. So the moles will go through the roots of the plants and tear them up. They don't really mean to do it, but it's just what happens. So we have to keep an eye out and monitor all that. Again, we've been doing piles of weeding out here. This is some sort of a kale plant, I believe. I decided just to leave it for now in case, as things warm up, it decides to start producing some food for us. Let's walk inside of the tunnel here, and we'll take a look around at some other things happening. The Jang cedar is pretty relatively new to us here on the farm. We're still getting the kinks worked out with that, but hopefully it'll come in handy. We typically use the earthway for most things. If you can see through here, a lot of these rows here were planted with the earthway. Not exactly sure what we've planted, but you'll be able to see more of that in the future. There is the paper pot transplanter. But those paper chains that you were seeing install these plants into the ground. here we are inside of one of our larger tunnels. This is I believe this one is, if I'm not mistaken, 14 feet wide. These are pretty handy. They don't really get everything going great for the winter time as they're not heated, but they're really good for the shoulder seasons to be able to grow things. The plants you're seeing here now are the salad, and these were transplanted about a week ago, or right at the beginning of March 2022. But these guys were planted last week, and they've taken pretty well. As you can see, they're growing right on up. Lots and lots of weeding has occurred down here. I'm leaving the spinach in for the time being just in case they decide to perk back up so we can have some fresh greens. Lots and lots of weeding. This garden, a lot of this garden was established last year, and as a result, a lot of weeds pop up the first go round. Also, with everything happening in the world, it was rather hard to keep up down here. So, long and short, we have some dandelions with some massive tap roots down here. If you can see, there's a few onions. Just leaving them just in case until we absolutely have to pull them out. You never know, they might come back to life somehow or another. Very well may. Up here we have a few hoops. These are called poly low tunnels. We are using the fiberglass poles in between. We do have plenty of the metal ones made, but we use the fiberglass poles, and they seem to work out pretty good throughout the middle section there, but toward the ends you do have to have something metal and a little more rigid. I personally don't care to use these that much, in my opinion. I much rather prefer to use a tunnel such as that. So the tunnel that you're seeing there, that round tunnel, it will be the last one to go up as it does not shed snow. However, the others that we have, they do a good job of shedding the snow. Still have some more weeding to do down here. A little bit more. But we've knocked out a majority of it. And here's another example of the poly low tunnels. Another reason why I don't like them is they're a lot more maintenance. You have to really pay attention to the weather. You have to open them up a lot. Sometimes you have to pull the plastic completely off and put it back on. Again, it's just my personal preference. I prefer not to even deal with them. But as you can see, sometimes we have to do it anyway. Right through here we have some garlic planted. And over here is where we've had our strawberry patch for the past year. And you'll notice that we actually have some asparagus that we've planted in here as well, interplanted in with. So they've been in the ground for a full year now, so hopefully we'll be able to start harvesting off of those. We may not have it for sale for customers per se, but at least just having them there. And here's another look at some more strawberries here, quite a bit. They're running out pretty far away from where they were originally planted. So I'm sure that we'll have to get that trimmed back at some point in time. A quick look at how we have the garden set up. This may not be the best place to do it, but we'll give it a shot and see if we can see what's happening. So we use this particular fence. It is the Poultry Net Plus. You may have seen that in other videos of ours from the Homesteaders of America convention, probably where we went to their booth. But it works out quite nicely. It is a double spike system, so therefore you can actually get your feet on it to be able to push it into the ground. Now what we have here is a board on the ground. Underneath that board we have landscaping fabric. We take a 3-foot wide roll of landscaping fabric, cut it in half, and lay that down to where the right edge of that landscaping fabric is there with the board on the edge. What that does is what we call crabgrass, or wiregrass is what some of you may have known it to be called. It actually grows underneath the soil as well as seeds out on top. So the roots actually go underneath, then they can pop up through into the garden. We've noticed that cutting that roll in half the crabgrass or wiregrass cannot actually make it up through into the garden. So that's been really handy. What I have been traditionally doing is weed eating. This edge is just pretty much a border to be able to weed eat. Recently I've been taking the lawnmower and riding over top of it, and that's been helping out a lot as far as time savings. These boards need to be replaced. They've been in the ground here for a while, plus these were older boards before they were put down to begin with. But what we need to do is replace those, and I want to take some pins and actually pin at each joint area. Put a pin on the farther side and a pin on the closer side to hold those down, so that when the lawnmower is driving over top of it, these boards aren't shifting around. So hopefully that'll save some more time as well this growing season. But yeah, guys, this is how it looks. Pretty interesting. We've been doing this now this will be starting on our 5th year of doing this, actually. Everybody really enjoys the product, which is super awesome. But we'll be showing you more about the garden as we go through, show you how we do certain things and how other things work out. Well, I hope y'all have enjoyed. We hope that y'all will come back and see us at some point in time. If you would like to subscribe, go right ahead. You can also hit the notification bell, and that'll just let you know that, hey, there's a video posted. That way you can see it. We're not on any particular video schedule or regiment. Whenever we have time to make a video, we will. And if we don't, then you will not be seeing a video from us. But we hope to be able to provide more content for y'all. Well, thank y'all so much for watching. We greatly appreciate it. Have a good one.